Welcome to Growth Unleashed, the podcast for pet brands that want to grow smarter without relying on paid ads. I'm Matt, the founder of Bubblegum Search.
And I'm Louis, SEO manager here at Bubblegum. And in today's episode, we wanted to talk to you about siloed SEO. So the basic idea is that your PR team, your content team, and your SEO team are all doing their own thing. They're siloed. And basically, we want to discuss why it doesn't work in 2025 anymore.
Yeah.
Search has evolved. AI is changing the way that people discover brands. And we feel like if you aren't integrating your SEO content and PR efforts, then you're kind of wasting your time, leaving authority, trust, and traffic on the table. So let's get into it, Matt. So let's start with this. What does siloed SEO actually look like in a typical kind of pet brand or agency setup?
Yeah, so it's exactly that. It just essentially means where each of the teams are working in siloed and they're not collaborating properly, and they're not all working towards an integrated and aligned strategy and towards the same goals, even if they think they are.
Yeah.
They're often not. And so, very quickly, it could be the technical SEO person or team is responsible for, crawling and indexing of all the pages, particularly if it's a very large site, all the classic on-page SEO elements. So, it could be the structure of pages, navigation, on-page elements like metadata, etc. And then you've got the content marketing person or team who's responsible typically for like content strategy, content planning, the actual content creation itself, and then lastly you've got the PR team. I mean, there's the PR team and then there's the digital PR team. They often are separate. Like you have the traditional PR, agency, or the traditional, the digital PR agency as well. But really, even though they have slightly different KPIs, their goal is more brand visibility, more brand awareness. So when we say about in siloed, like whether it's agency side or even in house, the biggest issue we find is the fact that they're applying the wrong approach. They're applying the wrong approach because they're not all aligned with what are the core goals, what is the strategy, and what we're trying to get out of it. And so they all need to work in harmony. And often they're not, and they're just they're not communicating to the level that's required, and their actions and their approach aren't aligned with each other to get the outcome or the desired outcome that's needed.
Yeah, so I guess to illustrate some of these examples, one of the things we see most frequently would be the PR team going out and earning coverage, but kind of just going out with the goal of earning coverage. So it's not necessarily tied to like a specific category, a specific product type, whatever it is that, internally you've decided it is that you want to push. Ultimately, your PR should try and point towards that. What you'll find is they generally just earn any kind of coverage, and when they earn links, they point it to either a random page or most typically just the home page, which, it does bring value, but that value can be much more targeted with the right thinking.
Yeah.
Another example is, like the kind of content marketing team defining, let's say, a set of initial keywords at the start and then just always working towards ranking for those keywords. I think you need to be a lot more adaptable than that ultimately. Content gets created, but it doesn't serve anything sort of larger than itself. I think you're missing out on big opportunities to kind of build topical authority around a certain subject there. But often you'll see them kind of just working independently, trying to rank for the same sets of keywords that you identified when you started your company. Yeah,
and often it's a case of, well, this keyword we're going after, even if it's like long tail, is relevant, and we've created a blog around it, so great, fine, but like that in itself isn't really gonna move the needle on what matters most, unless it's again bought into why are we doing this, in terms of like, in that example, the the kind of cluster page that would interlink to the core page. Fine. So have we done that? And if that's a yes, great. And then it's like, well, fine. Then have we actually built any authority to this page that then can get passed on to the core pages? No, fine. Then we need a PR strategy that does. So it kind of just goes beyond like that very basic achievements or basic level goals.
It's vanity traffic,
yeah,
I think, in a lot of cases.
Yeah,
you know, for those kind of blog posts where it's like, oh yeah, we ranked for that long tail keyword, and you know, people come to our website to read it, and it's like, yeah, but they also leave your website as soon as they've read it and don't do anything else. So
yeah, exactly. It's kind of looking beyond what impact does your role play in each of those siloed kind of departments actually play on the bigger strategy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I would also just stress, like, we're not trying to say that these teams do bad work. Like, we all know, you know, what we're doing. It's just the case that when it's disconnected, you're not getting the most return for your effort, basically. So I guess something we should cover is, you know, why is the siloed strategy now outdated, and why is integration so important in 2025?
Yeah, so it's not that the integrated approach was never not important. I think it's just become more apparent in the last few years, just simply because of how advanced and how sophisticated both Google and AI has become. So, you know, if we really go back, like the siloed approach worked quite nicely because, like we were saying, like if you just did a blog, it would rank really well and it would get a lot of traffic. If you just did some random non-relevant links and you built them to any pages, all of the rankings would increase. It was just like siloed SEO or siloed SEO and PR. Like it just worked. And so as Google's got more sophisticated, its need to understand topical authority at like an entity level has become critical in that sense. So if you are doing things in isolation, they just simply don't work anymore. So Google is now assessing at a page level, and that's at an on-page level. Like, and I guess what you control, like your website, are you showing that you have the topical authority and for whatever category that you want to be leading in. And it's exactly the same offsite. You know, are you sending all the right signals offsite to show that you are the expert and the authority on that? And again, it comes back down to like what they've always said with like EAT. So like experience, expertise, authority, and trust. All of those signals that they look for now on or offsite have become a lot more powerful and important. And simply, if you are doing things siloed, you're not going to be sending those powerful brand signals that you need to send back to Google to show and prove that you are the expert in what you do.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think with the experience, expertise, authority, and trust point, I think when they introduced those guidelines, people very much took it as, we need to show all of these on our website, on the, you know, on whatever page Google is assessing. And that is true, but you need to show that everywhere you're visible online now. Anywhere you're present, you need to be sending those signals to Google. You can't just focus on your website anymore.
No. Yeah. As I say, it used to work quite well, and I think it's just a lot of brands are playing catch up like that, or like we were saying, like sometimes it's kind of like just believing, oh, we've got, you know, we covered like the technical SEO, we cover the content strategy, we cover like the links and the PR, but why is things still not moving right? And it's almost like that disconnect hasn't quite clicked yet as to why that is. And it's really that approach is quite common. So look, if you do have those things in place and you're still not satisfied with the results and the visibility that you're getting, first thing I would suggest looking at is, are things integrated, you know, strategically, and are they all working in alignment? And if something's off within those channels, then that's probably it. That's probably what's kind of holding you back as well.
Definitely. So I think it could help now if we kind of break down potentially what an integrated SEO and PR strategy would look like in practice. So ultimately, the main thing you need to do is align your goals, between all of the teams. So often it's a category level goal. So let's say on my ecom pet site, I am saying my multivitamin dog supplements, these are, our biggest profit makers. I want to times 10 our sales on these. So content team, tech SEO team, digital PR team, we're all going to be working towards trying to build authority to that category and all of the, content that's held within it and all of the products. So yeah, I'd say figure out whatever that category is or that product line is. From that point, you can have your content team kind of look at what keywords and specifically what pages, relate to those topics on your site.
And where the gaps are, right? Because
where
sometimes
the keyword gaps are.
often they're there, and this is another thing that can be misleading. It can be, well, we've got that pillar page or category page, surely that's enough. And then when you dig into it, you're missing all of the sub pages that should be surrounding that as well. So sometimes it's as much as of a gap analysis of anything else. It doesn't necessarily mean that you've not done everything or not done the right things. It's just sometimes, there's gaps within that as well.
Yeah, so I think, you're kind of combining your tech, SEO and content team here to build the structure for, pillar pages, cluster blogs, a really solid internal linking strategy for this topic cluster that you're creating is crucial, because you want to show Google that you're the ultimate topical authority, basically. And if they can go into your website and, see this matrix of information that you've got, that's going to be perfect. And then once you've, got all of this stuff on your website, the next layer that you add onto that
is matching it off site, right?
Is digital PR. Suddenly we need, we don't just need random coverage stunts. What we need is targeted coverage that sends links and sends readers to the exact pages that we want. So, if we're trying to claim that we are, one of the topmost vet-backed dog supplements, a vet giving expert commentary on an article on the Metro that then links back to our page for the multivitamin dog supplements, or maybe even links back to our blog on the nutritional content of them. Yeah,
as long as it's topically relevant and internally links back to the core pages.
Yeah, the internal linking's important there. If it's a slightly if it's a blog page
sub-page
and not like an actual commercial page, but ultimately you will see the value kind of flow throughout that topic that you're basically becoming an authority on in Google and
I think that's
AI's eyes.
And I think that's another kind of easy oversight, I think, as well, is when you might have done that, especially around the kind of the optimization around the content, and perhaps if you've done it really well, there are no gaps in that kind of content strategy. And again, you might be thinking, but we're still earning links. Why isn't the needle moving? It could just be simply that the links are going to a different category or a different topic or a different page. And again, it's so simple when you think about it. It's just make sure that it's aligning to the actual pages of the goals of where you want it to as well. And it's not saying that those links to those other pages on the site isn't of value. It's just you're kind of starting again once you go on to that.
Value,
exactly. It's not the optimal value.
It's I guess that at a really basic level, what we're kind of saying sounds obvious. Have your teams talk to each other so they're all moving in the right direction.
But it's easy to go.
It's easy to not do that. It's easy for each team to have internal goals or kind of have these, I guess, just overall targets for the company. But in practice, you're not getting the most bang for your buck by doing that.
Yeah, definitely. And when it goes right, there's like we often talk about, is this like organic visibility flywheel that happens.
Yeah.
So you kind of category and keywords, lead on to like the content strategy, which then dictates the ideas and the stories for the PR campaigns, which then in turn builds the right authority and links, which then moves the rankings and ultimately the visibility, and that whole thing repeats when it's integrated and done properly as well. Cool. Okay. Well, look, I think probably the only final takeaways would be, the brands that are winning, and in 2025, are the ones who stop treating SEO and PR as separate disciplines, right?
Yeah, if your content, your links, and your kind of topical authority that you're trying to create aren't aligned with each other, you're more likely to be invisible to Google and the LLMs. So,
Yeah, definitely. Here at Bubblegum Search, we know the power of this integrated SEO and PR firsthand. So, if you want this power in your hands, why not follow the link in the description to learn more? And yeah, as usual, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.